Good afternoon and welcome. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. Chris, addenda?
Yes, sir. And noted in red, the first one, Whitner Street, is old business, so we moved it to the front and labeled it old business. And we have one sort of emergency review that we wanted to add with the chair's support. We added it at the end. It's North Avenue. But those are the two changes to the agenda.
Okay, let's proceed to reviewing the minutes from August 21st. Are there any issues with them? Do we have a motion to approve? Motion from Mary Lou. Second from Amanda. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Old business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 240 East Whitner Street. It's the old Dawson Radiator Building. This application to paint the building was tabled at the August 2024 BAR meeting. In a site meeting, the applicant worked with staff and BAR representatives to revise their proposal. The exterior colors to be used on this project are as follows. A 3-foot water table to be painted black. This matches what's on the building, and we'll see that in a minute. A 1-foot stripe above the water table to be painted red. Again, that matches what's on the building currently. A 1-foot stripe above the front, across the front of the building, above the existing wood windows to be painted black. Again, it matches what's there. Border around existing signs. Two brick width on the large sign and 1 brick width on the smaller signs to be painted black. Existing flange sign or sign flange on the front of the building to be painted black, and all remaining brick to be painted on the building to be painted white. Staff is recommending approval.
The
Sorry.
white is Chantilly, is that correct?
I'm sorry, yes.
It's an off-white?
It is an off-white. Benjamin Moore, yes. 2121.
Okay, there is a section of that building near the back that is much newer brick, and they've agreed not to paint that, just to give it an accent around the edge of it.
So I'll run through this real quick and you can see that area. So the site is outlined in red here. You see Fant Street on the right, McDuffie right here, and North Avenue down here. So here's the site. Does everybody know where we are? Okay. So this is the building. So you can see the black water table, the red, and then that black stripe at the top above the wooden windows here. These are all existing windows that have been replaced from an earlier BAR approval. This is the back side of the window, or the side of the building. This had to be rebuilt here. That's the wall that Mr. Chairman's talking about. A description of the work from the contractor. Elevations of the building. Again, you can see the black water table, the red stripe, and then the black above the windows here. This is the Main Street side of the building, so these are existing signs with the new black trim. This is the other side, the opposite side of the building. Again, the smaller sign with the black trim, and it's all white. And that's the back side of the building. And that concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is not here at this point.
Comments, questions?
I think it would be important to point out that the side that faces Fant Street already has paint on it. If not, the picture is older than I drove by and Jill drove by, and there's already some paint.
Yes,
on
yes,
there.
there is.
Yeah, on the old building.
Any other comments? Any questions? Do we have a motion? Motion from Amanda to approve as submitted. Second? Second from David. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving on to new business, BAR 2429. This is 115 West Benson Street. You can see the site in red right here, Benson Street, Main Street off to the right-hand side, and Murray Street here. Everybody know where we are? Let me know if you don't. Great. The applicant is requesting approval of proposed changes to the building located at 115 West Benson Street. The existing awning that was a later addition to the building will be removed. We'll see that here in a minute. Additionally, original elements like the cornice and upper story windows will be preserved in this proposed renovation. So this is a little bit of a moving target, and I'd appreciate your all's indulgence. What we're doing today is what we're going to call it the base renovation. So for lack of a better word, this is the worst case scenario. Hopefully, when they remove some of that facade and that awning, they anticipate they're going to find some windows and some other detail behind that, but they don't know. So what they're doing is they're getting an approval for this with the hopes that there's more behind that awning and that wood, and they'll expose it and preserve it. Along that lines, they're also requesting that a condition of this approval be that any elements original elements that they find be approved by the chair or the chair and one other person, just to facilitate the renovation process and keep it moving so that they don't have to wait. You know, if they find it tomorrow, they'd have to wait another month. So just keep that in mind as we're looking at this project. So this is the building in question. I also might add that the applicant has worked really hard with staff to refine this application and get it where it is right now. So there are a few changes, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But this is the building, and you can see the streetscape. Included this picture to show the streetscape here, specifically the clerestory windows right here. There's that building. Again, this awning will be coming off, and much of this wood it will probably be coming off, and that's where we hope, or the applicant hopes, to find windows or some other architectural detail behind that. These are the proposed colors that the applicant was looking at. And so this is an elevation of the building that outlines what the applicant is proposing. And here's what's changed a little bit. Initially, they had requested that the brick be painted Chelsea gray, this brick outside the arch, and they are now just saying that they're going to leave the brick unpainted outside the arch. So everything outside the arch here would be left unpainted, along with the cast stone cap and key. Inside the arch, this is brick actually inside the arch. Now that would get painted the lighter gray, this Benjamin Moore pewter, Revere pewter, with the window trim and the trim access being painted the black fox. So think of this as everything inside the arch right here is going to be that pewter with the black, the trim being painted black. And that's pretty much, with the exception of changing from painting the outside brick to not painting it, that's pretty much what this diagram is saying. And remember, this is the base, sort of the worst-case scenario, and the hope is that as they peel these additions off, they'll find more original architectural detail that they'll preserve.
I like
And,
the idea that they're not gonna paint the main portion of the building, that it is brick.
yes, sir, that's
That's a good
correct.
change. What are your thoughts on painting inside that archway, those bricks?
Mr. Chairman, one other point, the applicant is present if,
Any thoughts on that?
Well, particularly because the brick, and you see it better in the picture that you showed us than in our, obviously is newer brick. And I have, so I can see where that would make sense to be, it's not historic to the original building.
Okay.
Is the arch itself going to remain brick? Just be inside of the arch that will be painted, is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Now, should they find brick instead of windows behind that board and batten, would that be painted the same color as inside the arch?
Yes, sir, that is my understanding. But again, if the applicant wants,
Would you-
would you like to answer that? I don't want to put words in her mouth.
Yeah.
If we do find brick and it's old brick, I won't paint it.
You won't paint it if it's
No.
over.
I want to try to preserve, but we just don't know what's
Okay.
behind it.
And if there's windows, the mullions and the trim in the windows would match the color on the existing windows?
Yes, once we change them to the black fox.
So just to be clear, any changes from this, what's proposed here, she's asking and the staff is asking that be approved by one BAR member or the chair and a BAR member, whatever you all decide.
Okay.
But, so any changes, you would have a say in it, a representative would have a say in it,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
All right. Any thoughts or questions, comments on the changes to the building?
Will the other awning still be there, the one that looks like it has metal on it?
The awning,
She's talking about
this one over here,
No, the one
Right
above
here?
the other awning, that one,
this one,
yeah.
that's, would stay, right?
It looks original.
It's,
Well, at one time, honestly, I feel like it's historical, but then I look back at the picture I have found,
Mhm.
and it's not there.
It's not there, so.
So, the whole front, from the top windows all the way down to the, the smaller windows
Mhm.
was all glass, it appears. So it looks like it's 3 different, layers of windows.
So you're saying you think you would remove that, it's like a little cornice up in there, when you remove that board and batten
Mhm.
to see what's behind it?
Yes, and that's where I'm hoping there's glass, there's windows.
Mhm.
Because after looking, it looks like things really do line up when, I've looked and looked and looked.
And you
and
can't
analyzed.
tell from the inside? Is it covered over with like sheetrock or something?
It's a drop ceiling within the building. And that's, and you also, there's layers of wood. I have gotten a small peek of a window of glass. I'm just trying not to get my hopes up, because I'm really hoping that all the glass is there.
Chris, to simplify this, are we really just kind of approving various coloration right now and then kind of leaving this up to discovery in order to approve other elements to a later date, basically?
I think that's a fair statement, yes.
Okay.
I think that's a fair statement.
Any other questions or comments on the changes?
I wanted to say I appreciate not painting the brick. To me, when I see your building, that's what makes it stand out from the others. And also, there is in our guidelines, in chapter 3, that a brick building that was not originally painted shouldn't be painted, so I really appreciate that.
Well, and I didn't realize, I didn't look that deep, and I should have.
Okay, as far as having staff and a member of the board or the chairman approve whatever they come up with after they remove the board batten and that little cornice, how does the board feel about it?
I think that's a good idea.
I think we would all be in agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so, Chris, after they remove that, I guess you and I, or you, one of the members of the board, will review it and make recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the non-painting of the bricks and the painting of the inside of the archway and proceeding with what staff and a board member recommends after the board and batten? Motion from
Motion to
Jill,
approve.
second from David. Any further comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, if somebody wants us, do I done call somebody?
Call me.
Okay.
When you find something that needs, call me. And
Okay,
I'll
then.
set it up.
Okay. All right, thank y'all.
That's the building, that's the store next to it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I drove by, it looked like it's still, but just a separate, entry.
Moving right along to BAR 2431. This is a sign application. The site is actually fronts on Main, but the sign is visible from the back, from this parking lot here. Site's outlined in red. You can see Orr Street and Main Street. Everybody know where we are? Great. This application is for approval of the Movement Mortgage wall sign that was installed, replacing the steel law wall sign. The Movement Mortgage sign is the same size as the earlier sign. The Movement Mortgage sign size, configuration, and placement comply with the sign ordinance approved the middle of last year. Staff recommends approval as submitted. So you can see the building. This is what it looks like from Main Street. Going down Orr Street and looking back towards Main Street, you see the back of the building, and this is where the sign in question is located. This is the existing sign. This is what's there now. Again, staff is recommending approval, and the applicant is present if there are any questions.
Just one, the Edward Jones Investments is going away, and that becomes a new Greg Steele law sign. Same size, same place?
No, sir, the Greg Steele, it's replacing the Greg Steele sign. The Edwards Jones Investments will remain. That
Will
sign
remain, okay,
below it will remain. Yes, sir.
okay. Questions or comments?
And I have a question. The black line, is that the box or, is that I was going to say, if it's not, I think if it could be, like on the Edward Jones sign, has, looks like maybe even an inch or something border of the black might make it tie in a little bit better, but still have, a sign that is attractive and pops at you.
So you like the idea of a little black border around the
Well,
sign to
I'm
kind of set
not
it
trying
off?
to design their sign, but I was trying to, this is just such a tiny little black, or is there no, or is that the cabinet on the side of the sign? Or?
It's not a cabinet sign because they can't have a cabinet sign
Oh, so
by
it's-
code. I believe it's just it's not, there's not a trim.
Excuse me if I don't stand, I have bad knees. It's, there's no border. That is just a box that was around the sign to make it stand out.
In printing, that
Yes,
showed
thank you
up.
very much.
Okay.
There's no border.
Any other concerns?
And I'm just, to me, if it just had, you know, even a slight little black border around it, it would, Movement Mortgage would pop out more but it would tie in with the black window and the Edward Jones sign whereas the Greg Steele, when you look at that, you see the signs, but, you know, they all go together and seem to look more permanent. That's the only word that comes to mind. And so I'm just, I just had a question if that was a black border around it. I was going to recommend it be a little bit,
Black is not a Movement Mortgage color.
Mhm.
The color is the darkish gray that is on there, sort of charcoal. I'm not sure where my position is to say that we can't use black on their sign because it's not part of their logo. But if you make that decision.
so this Movement Mortgage is not actually black.
No ma'am, it's a dark gray.
It's dark gray.
Their colors are red and charcoal.
Okay.
Well, that was my only question.
Any other comments, questions? We have a motion? Motion from David to approve as submitted. Any other comments? Second from Jill. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carry unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving on to BAR 2433. The site is outlined in red here on River Street. It's the old, well, I'm sorry, it doesn't front on River Street. It fronts on McDuffie Street. It's the old Wilhite House. You can see Main Street here and Fant Street out here. This is River Street running diagonally across the middle. The site is outlined in red. Does everybody know where we are?
Yes.
Okay. The applicant is requesting approval to replace the fountain destroyed earlier this year during the storm when a tree fell on it. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Provide a cut sheet or fountain description from the manufacturer, including pictures, dimensions, and finish. Provide a site plan with a survey as the base that shows the following: fountain location, new and existing sidewalks, and most importantly, property lines. 3, provide a utility plan of any electrical or water utilities to be added. 4, provide a planting plan for the street corner and fountain. And 5, provide a planting plan to soften the fountain and the hardscape, the proposed hardscape. So this is the house in question, the Wilhite House. This is the view from River Street. This is the plan that staff received. The concern is that we don't know where the property lines are or where they are, and don't know exactly where the sidewalk is going. And honestly, I would think there would be some green to soften between the hardscape of the path and the fountain, and then maybe some landscaping out here on the corner, again, to soften that whole when viewed from the corner, street corner. This is the site plan that staff received. And I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant is not present.
I haven't driven by that house in a while. Could you go back to the picture?
One more.
Well, no, it was actually the other one.
Well,
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The driveway that's right there, I can't tell. Is that gravel or is that
I think it's
concrete?
asphalt. I think it's asphalt.
Okay.
If you go back one more picture, no, the other way.
Other way. It shows.
If you look over in the
Yeah.
right-hand corner down there, you see what the original fountain looks like.
Yeah.
That fountain was there for years. This is a very historic building. I think that was the guy that invented ether,
Mhm,
built that.
correct.
That's impressive.
I agree with staff that we do need a lot more information, on exactly where the fountain's gonna be. The color of the fountain also needs to be included. And I do agree that they do need some kind of landscaping to soften this up. It just jumps out at you there, the way that, having that picture. Any comments from anybody else on this?
Well, this view of it, I think what is confusing, of course, it's not to scale really, but it's not showing from the street side. And going back where it shows the fountain that was there before it was destroyed, it appears that that is in a different, it's to the left of the tree,
Yes,
and this one is in a different,
it's in a different
place,
location. The
yeah.
original fountain was actually closer to, what is that, McDuffie Street? It was actually closer to McDuffie Street. Now, that original fountain hadn't run for years. It didn't operate.
and I don't think it was back where the ether man,
No,
he
it
lived
wasn't.
there. But, you know, if we
Mr.
need a,
Willett.
to me, we need a view from exactly where it's going, showing the fence and the relationship of where the fountain and the scale of it to
And
the
this,
fence.
the side street here, showing how far it is from that side street.
River
stuff, so,
River Street, isn't it River Street?
Well, I think
River.
staff's concern too is that the fountain doesn't, and the sidewalk doesn't get built on the right, in the right of way.
Yes,
Oh, right.
It needs to be outside the right of way.
since the applicant is not present, and we can't ask anything of them right now, what are your thoughts on tabling this to the next meeting? Have a motion from David, second from Mary Lou. Any further comments?
Did they specify what the material is for the walkways, or is that,
Concrete.
Concrete.
and the driveway's asphalt?
I think the driveway's asphalt, but it's been a long time since I've been in that house.
They already have it coming.
And they, do they show, do we know the, it says it's gonna be 10 feet where the pad is, but do we know, is the sidewalk going to be, what's the size of the sidewalk?
Yeah, the
Is it
width of
same
the
as
sidewalk.
others, and
We need a decent plan,
we need a little more,
yeah,
Yes.
some measurements.
okay, so.
Yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a second. All those in favor of tabling this to the next meeting? Opposed? Carried, this will be tabled to next month's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving along to BAR 2435. The well,
35?
sorry. One moment, please. I am,
34.
yeah.
34.
Yeah, my apologies. My apologies. BAR 2434, thank you. The site is outlined in red here. You can see Watson Avenue running below it here, and Lindley Park, the existing part of Lindley Park, and the renovations or the additions to Lindley Park down here. Everybody know where we are? Let me know if you aren't. Okay. The applicant is seeking approval to add a shed and privacy fence. The proposed fence is a shadow box design and will be added to the east side of the property, and we'll see a plan for that, and a 12 by 24 wooden shed that will be in the backyard and not visible from the road. The shed will be painted to match the house, and the roof shingles will match the house shingles. Staff recommends approval as submitted. So this is a picture of the house as seen from the street. These are plans on where the fence and the shed will be located. So You can see this brown line here. This is the new fence that is an extension of this existing fence right here. Is that correct? Yeah. Coming down the property line. And then the house ends up straddling 2 lots, and the shed would be in the back behind the house. So again, not visible from the street. Again, a site plan for the shed, details of the shed, and again, site plan for the fence and what that fence will look like. Staff is recommending approval. I can answer any questions, or the applicant is also here to answer any.
Can you go back to the view of the front of the house? Okay, those look like, is that 6/6 windows? And the shed, the drawing that showed 6/6, is that correct? It's
Just
4/4.
8 panes.
It's not that significantly different. What are your thoughts on these?
Personally, doesn't bother me.
You're not gonna see it.
It's gonna be in the
Yeah,
rear of the
that's-
property
I see.
behind the house.
Yeah. So there's no issues with the shed, fence?
What will the foundation under the shed look like? Will it be brick or lattice?
Yeah, do you mind? Thank you.
It's on pressure-treated 4x6 skids.
So the foundation, according to the company, it will be on piers, and the joist will be on the piers, and then underneath, we can put brick to match the house.
Is that part of the plan?
I hadn't gotten that far, but it can be part of the plan. There'll be one end will basically be almost ground level. There's a slight slope on the land, so one end will be a foot. So it's a foot versus 0, basically, the elevation. So.
Any other questions or comments on the shed? Okay, looking at the fence, it matches the existing fences there on the other side. Any comments about the fence?
And it'll just be it's gonna be left natural, right, isn't it? Was it
Be left
walnut,
natural
I
to
believe?
age.
Cedar, cedar.
Right, it's cedar. It's a Charleston / shadow box. It's a
Yeah,
hybrid
very.
of the two.
Okay. Is it agreeable with you to add the bricks around the foundation of the shed?
Sure, I can do that. I'm the one that's got to look at it, so anything to beautify it. Yeah. So,
Okay. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve with the addition of the bricks to the foundation. We have a second? Second from Gia. First, the motion was from Amanda. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, moving on to BAR 2435. The site is outlined in red. You can see West Whitner running across the middle of your screen. Everybody know where we are? Great. The applicant is seeking approval of the recent color change to the house. As part of maintenance, including replacing rotted wood fascia and wood siding, the wood siding was painted Sherwin-Williams 6177 softened green, and trim was painted Sherwin-Williams 0050 classic light buff. This was done prior to approval. I think the applicant thought they were matching the existing color, and they were close, but not not quite. Staff is recommending approval as submitted. So this is the house, as it is with the new paint on it. So this color and this light green color was what was painted. That's from West Whitner, and that's the side street. Again, staff is recommending approval. The applicant is not present.
A little history on the house. That green was originally, well, for many years now, about 8 or 10 years, artichoke green, was just Sherwin-Williams color. The new color does look very nice in that house. It's in the West Side Historic District. Comments on the color change or questions about anything? We have a motion to approve.
We have to look at it more, right, Bill?
Yes. Motion to approve by Mary Lou, second by David. Any comments or questions? Further? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving right along, it's, I can't remember the Glaze. This is a new bakery in town. It's on Tribble Street. The site is outlined in red. You can see the farmer's market sits right in here, Arts Center down here, Main Street running on the right-hand side of your screen. Everybody know where we are? Great. The application is for a new wall sign. To be compliant with the new sign ordinance, which does not allow cabinet signs, the applicant is proposing a flat metal routed sign with applied vinyl graphics. The sign is not illuminated. Staff recommends approval as submitted. So this is the building as it is today. It was, I don't know if you remember, about a year ago, it was in front of you all. These represent the renovations that were approved. And this is the sign they're proposing to go on it, and it would be right there in the gable. It is a flat metal sign, so there's no relief to it. It is not a cabinet sign. Cabinet signs are not allowed as wall signs anymore, and it's not lit. And the applicant's not here. I'm happy to answer any questions I can based on the application.
When it says CNC routed, but no relief, I don't understand
Yes.
the difference there.
I think that just means the perimeter circle, because I don't know what else they're routing, because like I said, and like it says, the graphics are all vinyl.
How would you put vinyl?
What is your understanding of, maybe you have a different understanding
Well,
of
I was
CNC?
wondering if maybe there was relief with CNC routing, and then maybe the vinyl was like inlaid into the routing perhaps, but I don't know.
Well, my question is, where they have battens coming down, the black, and this sign is on, is there going to be a space, is it going to stick out the same depth as the batten does?
So that was my initial concern too, and I actually took this picture. This is not a Google picture, because I was concerned, had that very same concern. There is not a lot of relief on those elements of the facade of that gable end. It shows up, but there's just not, there's not a lot.
So it will.
There will
appear
be,
flat.
but there will be, just to be clear, there will be space there behind the sign, but it's not going to be a lot, simply because it's almost a flat surface, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think these were 1x4s or 1x6s,
I'm sorry, I don't know.
which would give you a 3/4 inch spacing behind it. Any other concerns or questions about it? If it's routed out, how could you put the vinyl on there unless you have a plate behind it and then put the vinyl inside that, which would meet our guidelines, wouldn't it?
So do you think they're referring to the black circle?
That's how I would read it. That's how I read it.
That is,
The route.
it's set back a little bit, maybe. Or,
David, if there is relief on the letters, so if the letters are proud of the back of the sign, I think that would be a positive thing.
I do
Correct.
too.
Okay.
Yes. Just trying to get specific on signage verbiage.
what it is. Well,
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes. Okay. Any further comments, or do we have a recommendation to approve as is, or do we want to put a stipulation on this? What's your thoughts?
I mean, the signage, whether it's flush or not, they meet our ordinances, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I move to approve based on that, but.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve from David, as presented. Second from Amanda. Any other comments on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. BAR 2437. This is a window replacement. The applicant is requesting approval to replace all the windows in the house with vinyl replacement windows. The replacement windows are SDLs, simulated divided lights, and the grid configuration will match the existing windows. Staff recommends approval as submitted. So it's important to note this not very nice house is at the corner of West Hampton and South Main. You can see, just it's a curiosity because this is the outline of the historic district, so it just jumps across the street and grabs this house before it goes back. So this is the only house on this block that's in the historic district. That's a picture of the house, side, back. So there were several cut sheets supplied, but I only included this because I wanted to point out that it is SDL, simulated divided light, as well as GBG, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's grid between glass. So it has two grids there. Sorry, and that's staff's presentation. The applicant is not present, but they did revise the application after staff said it needed to be an SDL per your historic approval of window replacements.
Did they give a reason for replacing the windows? Are there rot problems?
I honestly don't know. I don't know why.
I've been in that house, and it looks like it was like a rainbow black. It probably needs a window.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions on them?
what is the tint on it? It says it's clear, glass tint, clear.
Mhm.
So they should look very similar
Mhm.
to, I mean, they have you are saying it's such a,
It's a prominent
historic,
building, yes.
prominent, that if they had true divided, is that,
I just was wondering if there was a physical reason that they needed to be replaced, because our guidelines state that things should be repaired if possible and
Yes.
maintained and not replaced unless there is some issue.
Would it be possible
Staff,
to-
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Would it be possible to get the applicant here for the next meeting?
I can certainly try.
If they can't make it, can you ask them why they need to replace the windows? Is it
Yep.
just for the insulation part of a double pane window? And what condition are the existing wood windows?
Is this a residence or a business?
It is a residence. It is my understanding it's a residence.
It has been a business a couple of times years ago.
And I know there was another property in another neighborhood several years ago that they just asked to replace the ones on the rear of the building and leave the front to keep the facade the same. If that would be something they might consider.
Any other comments? So do we have a motion to table till next month? A motion from Mary Lou? Have a second? A second from Michael. Any other comments on this? All those in favor of tabling this to next month's meeting? Opposed? It's unanimous. We table this to next month's meeting, and maybe you get the information or the applicant to come in and talk with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Moving right along to BAR 2440. Again, the site is outlined in red. It's on North Avenue. Again, Lindley Park. You can see the edge of Lindley Park right here. The green represents the outline of the North Anderson Historic District. Everybody know where we are?
Yep.
Great. The roof of this house was damaged in the storm earlier this year, and the applicant is requesting approval of the shingle to re-roof the house. So it's my understanding that they've been round and round with the insurance company. If you drive by it, you can see the blue tarp on it, on the corner, left corner. The existing shingles are asbestos and are no longer made. So it's and we'll see it in the picture, it's a distinct shape. The applicant is proposing using GAF Camelot 2 antique slate shingles to get as close to the current color as possible. Staff is recommending approval as submitted. So this is a picture of the house, and again, you can see the shape of the shingle is, I think, unique. Maybe it's not, but I think it's unique. And this is the corner that was damaged. And that concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is not present, but I'll answer any questions if I can.
Comments on this? Questions? Recommendations?
None.
Well, I have a question.
I'm sorry, that's the shingle.
Oh, that's the shingle, okay.
Apologies.
It looks like this is the new one they want.
Yes, ma'am, this is the new one.
And what is on there now, you said it's asbestos, but does it look like slate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, because.
Yes, I would assume that's what a slate looks
And
like.
but it wasn't real, I mean, it was slate, but it had something else. A lot of houses in our
Yeah,
neighborhood.
they have asbestos mixed in with that material. They're man-made.
I think that's a good option.
Any other comments, questions? Do I hear a motion? Motion from David? Second?
I'll second.
Second from Mary Lou. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carry unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any board business you would like to discuss? Staff report?
No, sir, not at this time.
There's no further business. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion from Mary Lou. Second from David. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.